Hello, everyone. My name is Wayne Caldwell, and I'm the coordinator for the Rural Planning and Development Program. And pleased to have you join us this afternoon or this morning, depending upon when you're listening to this. I have the pleasure of having with me 10 students that are currently in the program today, and we just want to provide a little bit of insight for the potential incoming students as to what RPD is all about. It's to recognize at the outset that the fall is going to be a little bit different than in previous falls with COVID-19 and what that means. We provided some direction to all of you already that we plan to deliver our courses online. But I think there are a few things that we can commit to for the fall. That A, we will have a full set of quality courses, the best we can possibly do. We will have faculty who are caring and committed to delivering those courses in the best way possible. We have opportunities for bringing in alumni and other guest speakers into our courses and so on. And we, of course, have a great group of students that are currently in the program and that are as interested as you are in a quality delivery and a quality experience. So I have a set of 3 questions that we're going to go through over the next 35 or 40 minutes or so. And I'm going to invite all of the students to introduce themselves briefly, and then we'll talk about their experience in courses. We have quite a few online courses already, and a number of the existing student body will have taken some of those online courses. And we'll actually then talk a little bit about what community means in CEDRED and within the Rural Planning and Development Program. So to begin with, I think at the outset, Gersvik had actually volunteered to go first. So Gersvik, just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, and let's hear from you.
All right, thank you, Wayne. So my name is Gersvik Singh. I finished the program December 2019. And so far, I found employment in a private firm. I'm working with the principal planner. He agreed to be my mentor. I've done quite a few projects up until now, but everything's stuck because of COVID-19, so I don't get paid until the Committee of Adjustment stuff is finished. Other than that, I have quite a few years in construction and development in terms of experience, and I love RPD. So I'm here.
Well, if I remember correctly, your home was it Brampton?
Yep.
And of course you have that more urban background perhaps, but coming into the rural planning program, that worked okay for you?
Yeah, it worked perfectly fine. Thanks to your advanced planning class, to be honest. A lot of the questions I got were, have you done a co-op before? But I was able to back up my experience by showing the projects that I did through the advanced planning class. So one was for Grey County's climate change action plan. Me and Lou did that with another colleague. That really pulled through. There was news coverage over that as well, and it brought my name forward in a lot of my applications. And other projects we've done with Huron County, even though they were rural, but I found employment in the city of Mississauga. So it turned out really well. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. Someone else like to go next? I'll start pointing at people just in the efficiency of moving this along. And Lou's name was mentioned just a second ago, and I think Lou's the only person we can't see because he doesn't have a camera on the particular computer he's working from. But Lou, just a little bit of your background.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Lou Helps, and I just finished up the program really this past semester, although I'm starting a PhD in rural studies in the fall, so I will still be around. I currently live up on Georgian Bay in the Parry Sound area, and that's part of maybe why I'm having trouble with my internet and can't get my camera to work. The broadband access up here is pretty bad. But to tell you a bit about me, I study workforce development in the Canadian agricultural sector. Particularly, I've done a lot of work with migrant workers in Ontario and done some international field interviews with them in Mexico. So this past winter, I was working on my master's thesis in Mexico for the program, or for the RPD program, and it all went very well. Really, it actually prepared me for this sort of distance education thing that we're all going through right now, because I have actually spent the past year off of campus. I haven't been to Guelph really since last May. So, but I can tell you, if anyone is worried about how that works, it actually isn't that bad. Now that we have things like Zoom that help us to do remote meetings like this, it's actually easier than ever to stay in contact with people in the program, with your advisor, and really stay on top of things that way.
So when you were in Mexico, did you take any courses or anything of that nature, Lou? Or
No, I was just working on my thesis down there.
yeah, cool. Well, that's great. Thank you for that input, and we'll come back to you later and get some more experiences. So I'm just looking at the lines across the bottom of my computer. Preethi, would you like to go next?
Yeah, I'm Preethi. I am a first-year RPD student. I'm working with Dr. Sherry Longboat on one of her projects looking at the gendered impacts of mining and Indigenous women. Yeah, I did a science degree in environmental sciences, so I have that in the back pocket, and I'm excited to finish up this program in December 2020.
Excellent. Well, I know you've been quite involved with CIP as well and other student organizations as part of that, and we'll no doubt continue in that vein, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Elise.
Hi everyone, my name is Elise. I just finished my first year of the RPD program, and I did the all course option, which everyone comes in and chooses a varied route for the program. And so I chose the all course option. And I think it's going really well so far. Of course, I have another year left to go, but I'm really enjoying the diversity of courses that allows me to take, a diversity of kind of knowledge areas to look at. So I'm going to continue that. And right now I'm working with Wayne actually on a research project this summer looking at municipal capacity and agri-food issues in Ontario. So there's lots of really interesting things going on in the program. And I mean, my background is in sociology and public history, and I've also done some work on cultural heritage in a municipal capacity. So I think people come into the program with a lot of different knowledge areas and skills, and that's so valuable. And there's just a lot to learn from your peers as well, and in the courses. So, and I'm sure that that is going to be something that's sustained in the fall semester, even though that we're online. We'll still find ways to connect and share that with each other. So.
Just noticing the research you're doing this summer, it's had to be converted to all online processes. How has that gone?
It's going well. We do a lot of Zoom, a lot of this. And Regan and I are working on the project together, and we just started interviews with municipal planners, and that's going really well. I'm getting this kind of mirror of working in a municipality, those conversations that you get to have with other planners, people who are passionate about the same topic as you. So I'm enjoying that so far. So it's good.
Yeah, the big negative is I think you were supposed to be leaving for a conference in Spain tomorrow, was it? Tomorrow or the next day, but
Thursday, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Spain or Ontario, you can't argue with that.
It's good.
Angela.
Hi everyone, I'm Angela, and I'm a master's student RPD and also in the research collaboration program, International Development Studies. And my research is with Dr. Nicholas Brunet, and we're focusing on the impacts of corporate social responsibility of mining corporations in Canada and the Philippines. Right now I was actually supposed to be doing my fieldwork in the Philippines, but everything still has worked out where I've just switched around a few things. So right now I'm just working on my lit review, and then hopefully in the future, we'll see how things go with international travel. Otherwise, there's still a bunch of backup plans and a lot of support from faculty, which is great. But yeah, that's me.
And you work in the International Development Program. And again, I'm sure it's been impacted by COVID-19 as well. Any specific insight for students that might be going into that program?
I'm actually the student representative for the Graduate International Development Student Association. So we've been trying to find ways to reach out to students if they need support. And we're also finding ways to also bring students together during COVID-19. So we're planning a bunch of online seminars and webinars so that students have platforms to be able to speak about COVID-19 implications, or also just another platform to speak about their research. It's kind of like an online conference symposium. So we can give you more information about that, but I'm always happy to speak about it too.
I've been quite impressed with the work you folks have done around fundraising and things of that nature. And again, we'll talk a little bit later about community, but a big credit to you and your colleagues for working to establish community in this current space and also more generally as well.
Thank you.
Regan.
Yeah, so my name's Regan and I'm an incoming student, just like many of you listening. I'm really excited about the program and meeting everyone in the fall. And yeah, RPD is just a really great community. I've been working with Wayne and Elise since, I guess, January or February. And it's been a really great experience so far.
And I know you're involved with OPPI as well as a number of other people are, OPPI being the Ontario Professional Planners Institute. And any observations from that by distance and your ability to contribute there?
No, we're working on moving more things online. Patrick is the other student representative. I'm actually the student delegate for the next year. And yeah, things are evolving and changing to the online formats, just like the RPD program.
That's great, thank you. Yanjun.
Hi, I'm Yanjun, and I'm a first year RPD student. I'm an international student from China. I came in this program in course-based, but then I switched to visas. Now I'm doing research in climate-induced plant relocation. I was trying to do a case study in Belize and PI this summer, but because of the virus, now I'm doing everything online, including surveys and interviews. I think this is a particular difficult time for international students, like for them to decide if they should come or not. And a lot of them may have other life plans, like in Canada. So I would just recommend you to keep connection with your supervisors and all the professors. And everyone here is very helpful. Yeah.
How's it been for you coming from China, I suppose, prior to COVID-19, and then coping with things, if you like, with family at a distance and so on after COVID-19 has hit us? How's it been?
I came here with my husband and my daughter, so it was kind of difficult, like from the beginning, and nowadays it's even harder. But then there are a lot of resources in the university, I think the counseling, it's a very important thing for the international student. Like if they have any problems, they should reach out. Yeah, other than that, it just keep like socializing with other people and don't just stay in your own zone. That's like a big problem for international students. Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. That's very helpful. Victoria.
Hi, I'm Victoria, and I'm in the third semester of the RPD program. And what I really like about the RPD program is how flexible it is. So then you can really change it to life-changing circumstances. So in my case, I'm a new mom of one, and I also have been delving a lot in different projects, which is what I wanted to do. So firstly, I worked with OGRA on an immigration analysis on how rural communities can do asset revisioning, which is basically looking at what they can do to be able to help with immigration attraction and retention. Then we moved on to seminar leadership a lot, which is something you do a lot in this program, which really helps with being able to identify what your voice is, which becomes very important for someone like me who is not used to having my voice heard. The other thing too is the working with ECB Ontario on food sovereignty. And then now I'm delving more with working with Ryan Gibson on the SEF project on rural employment. So the bit I'm trying to show is that this program really allows you to really delve in different interests if that's what you really want to do, and really try to discover yourself in the process. The other thing that I really enjoy about it is that it's something that as a mom, you get to still work and still go to school and still have time for your child, and that's very important. So for me, I also work in managing the research data center at Stats Canada, and to be able to explore that and still be able to explore all my research interests and still have time for my baby really means a lot to me. And that's why I think I really love the RPD program.
Great. Well, thank you for those comments. Patrick.
Hi everyone, my name is Patrick, and I am a first-year rural planning and development student, just like the majority of other people here in this call. I am in the course-based option in the Canadian stream. After a few years of graduating from my undergraduate degree in urban studies, I worked mainly in the public sector in fields of community engagement, transportation planning, and I always had kind of school in mind. So after a few years of working, I decided to try my luck and submit my application to planning schools, and was happy that University of Guelph accepted me. I think the main good thing about the school is that I thought that rural planning would ultimately complement my urban experiences.
Good stuff. And of course, you've also played a really major role in the school in helping to build community through your OPPI connections and events and so on as well, and organized, I think, the Rural Romp, which is a specific, of course it belongs with us, the Rural Romp, could it not? Any observations on your experience as the OPPI leadership role and the OPPI delegate?
Yeah. So I am also, like Regan said, I'm also the OPPI graduate student rep for the University of Guelph. This role allows me to speak with other student reps from the different planning schools in Ontario, like Ryerson, Queen's, York, U of T, Waterloo, and so on, and allows me to promote what we have, what's going on in the University of Guelph, onto them as well. And it also gave me an opportunity to plan the Rural Romp, which is, I think this past year was the 5th annual Rural Romp. And it's essentially kind of a social event that brings rural planning issues to the forefront. And so this year, the theme was on circular food economy. And we invited some guest speakers to speak about what's going on in the city of Guelph. We had some bus tours to some cideries and some farms to speak about their on-farm diversification. And we ended the night with a pub social with Guelph alumni. So that was really a really cool experience.
Great. The challenge next year will be to do something equally as engaging. We'll see whether we're face-to-face or it's done by distance. Time will tell.
Exactly. Yep.
Brady.
Hi. So my name is Brady McGlade. I'm first year in the rural planning program as well. I came out of an undergrad that was focused, well, it was major. I was focused on more environmental physical geography. I came into the program knowing that I wanted to become a planner. After graduation, I had some experience working for a couple different conservation authorities and also with a private consultant. And so I chose the Guelph just for the rural focus. I'm from Eastern Ontario, rural area. So like I said, I'm course-based. My research advisor is Sherry Longboat. Yeah, so basically when I came into the program, I knew I wanted to get a job right away. And that's kind of what happened. Kind of happened a little bit quicker than I expected, and which is great. I'm now working at the Township of Drummond North Emsley as the municipal planner. So.
Is our most recently employed, I think at least of the group that we have here, or at least one of the more recent. How was that whole process? I think your job was sort of in the midst of COVID-19 happening, if I remember correctly, Brady, and I think you had it maybe confirmed before. But any observations just in the job market for people out there at the moment too, because it's not as buoyant as it was 6 months ago, obviously.
Yeah, so I was fortunate. Where I am, the Township of Drummond North Emsley, the office here is 15 minutes from where I grew up, and this is kind of where I wanted to be down the road. So the job came up available in January, and had the interviews in February, I guess, during my reading week, and learned I had the job that week. And so I was supposed to start, I guess it was April, and then everything with COVID-19 happened. So they pushed my start date back to May 4th, and it's been good so far. We're taking a lot of precautions at the township, and so far it's been working well. But there's a lot of opportunities out there. right now, maybe it's kind of being held back, but I know even in our county here, there's 6 townships, and in the last 6 months, there's been 3 openings available, and I got one of them. So there's a lot of opportunities out there for people wanting to become planners.
Great, thank you for that. A great set of comments from everyone as part of your introductions. Thank you. And the good news is we've touched upon some of the other aspects that we were hoping to cover through those initial comments, so that's good. But I'm just going to open it up. Maybe your experience in RPD, and not everyone has to contribute, but just sort of jump in, your experience in RPD. Particularly, I think folks are going to be interested in courses, what it meant to, because some of you have done distance or online courses through the program already in the way that we were structured. And it's fair to say it's different. It's a different experience than face-to-face, but we try as best as we can, and we'll aim to try as best as we can to make sure that those are still good experiences. So interested to hear from people, good, bad, and different, whatever your perspective might be on some of your experiences, both with courses or research within the school as well. Who'd like to go first? Gersvik, I see your microphone is turned off, so I'm thinking that means you're ready to go.
Yeah. I was thinking if no one else is going to go first, I could go for it. So for the summer courses that I took, it's kind of slipping my mind, but I took project development and I took tourism development, I think 1 or 2 more. But so my experience with it was the content, everything else was easy to access through CourseLink. Time management, however, is kind of tough. Like if it's online, sometimes you kind of forget, even if you set calendars. I was working at the same time as I was taking these courses, so I kind of had to push myself through to make sure that I got into the discussions on time, or when I would log in at the end of the day, the discussion would be somewhere else and I would have to try to read through everything. But other than the discussion, which was like the more difficult aspect for me because I had to keep up and I was working at the same time, the assignments were fairly straightforward. Content, everything else, especially in video format, was easier to consume rather than just trying to read through a bunch of readings, I think. And yeah, the assignments were straightforward. Just hand them in at a certain date, or try to get everything done maybe a week or 2 weeks before that deadline, just in case, so I don't have to wing it. But other than that, my experience has been mostly positive with the online courses. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Someone else with your experiences?
Just want to jump in. With online learning, at the very beginning, we got a lot of surveys from the faculty and also the school. And at first, there were a lot of them, but I think like if you were an incoming student, participating in these surveys do help quite a bit in kind of getting your outcomes that you want out of it, because the faculty do listen to it, to like a lot of our feedback. And yeah, no, I think that it's a very important tip is to participate in the feedback surveys as much as possible.
Was that, Preethi, part of the survey organized by the instructor as the course was starting, or by the school generally?
By the school and the instructors. Some of the instructors also sent out a survey saying, how would you like to be supported, or how do you feel about the upcoming assignments? Is there anything that's holding you back from meeting the deadline? Is there something that I could do to help you meet that deadline? So they do help in like helping us meet the educational outcomes.
Good stuff. And of course, with the COVID virus hitting, then the last part of last semester was actually delivered online too, wasn't it? That was quick adjustment to those changing circumstances.
Yeah, and it was a great adjustment too. As soon as like the feedback came in, and then as soon as the feedback was used, it was a great adjustment.
Yeah, it was from a faculty member. It was remarkably, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it went smoother than I think any of us might have anticipated it would. So that was good. Someone else.
Now, Wayne, can the incoming students expect that they would get to participate in surveys as well before courses start for them?
So that's a good question. In some ways, it'll be up to individual faculty members. And some of the courses, I can look at my own courses where I've had prior student experience contributing to the course development. So my general answer would be yes, but it will vary by individual faculty member and how they might structure things. Part of our challenge as well is with, I mean, there'll be really the two modes of delivery that we are looking to in the fall, both by distance. One would be where a course is essentially packaged, and I think that's similar to what Gersvik was referring to, where you follow through the course, and others of which will in fact have regularly scheduled times where you'll, at 2:30 on Thursday afternoon, everybody will show up online, and it'll be like a regular course that would have been delivered face-to-face as best as it can be, but will be delivered with a regular time slot and things of that nature. So there'll really be those two approaches. And certainly the approach which is face-to-face, when I say face-to-face online, as we're doing right this moment, then there's lots of opportunity for input and feedback. And I think, that's something I take great pride in observing my colleagues, that they really take that to heart and do the best they can with it. But I'll let other people jump in and see if you agree with me on that perspective or not.
Yes, I wanted to jump in. One thing that I really liked about the RPD program is how much it's not just a tick box student engagement scenario, because they use very different methods. I remember I have been in Wayne's public engagement class where at the start of the course, you would sit in a circle and everybody has a voice on what kind of shared values they want to have for the class. And that was really cool to see. I have never experienced that in other programs that I've been in. So that was very interesting. And then you could move all the way up to having discussion forums through the online systems where you can be grouped in groups to encourage you to discuss amongst your colleagues on how to go about issues. Then you could have a big town hall experience, which could be virtual or it could be in person. So I think if you're someone who is very keen on having a public interest, the way the program is structured really gives you the opportunity to see how that can pan out in different situations and using different methods that you can actually adopt for yourself in your own work environment.
Thank you for that. A couple of other people to contribute to this part of the discussion, perhaps. And don't be shy if there's any concerns you have. I want to hear those too. So
I can jump in.
I think we have Angela and then Bree.
Okay, sorry. I just want to echo some of the same comments that everyone's saying, especially with everything evolving. The transition to online has been a learning experience for everyone. So something I've really appreciated is how flexible RPD has been and its efforts to support students, and how approachable all of the professors are. Even if they're not my advisor, I've reached out to a bunch of different other professors, even if I've only had them in a class or even if I haven't, and they've been super helpful. And also just how empathetic students and faculty have been to individual situations, because they understand that not everyone is facing the same hardships during COVID. So I really appreciate that. And yeah, I really love how there's been open communication through all this, because it's very important.
Thank you for that, Angela. Brady, I think you might have been jumping in there previously too, so.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna add, even when, last year when we were at the school in Guelph, every professor is so approachable and answers your emails, and you go to their office anytime you want. Everyone is so helpful in the program that, during all this, that's just continued. So for incoming students, I wouldn't be worried about not being able to access professors or anything, because honestly, all our professors and Wayne are all fantastic. So I wouldn't be concerned about that. I've been so impressed throughout this whole crisis about how all the professors have dealt with everything and been working with us. So that's all I wanted to add.
That's great, thank you. Anybody else? Yeah.
I can.
Okay.
Was it Elise's voice? I
I was
heard
slowly creeping in.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So this is really just echoing everything that's been mentioned previously, but even prior to COVID, I was in an online course this winter semester, and professors are accessible through email. And I believe going into the fall, don't be afraid to contact your professors if you're struggling with an assignment or you need an extension. That's something across the board, really, from the beginning last September, all professors in the program, whatever course it was, they're like, if you have a difficulty with a deadline, just come and chat with us. We're all adults here. We all have other lives happening out of this, and there's a recognition for that. And now that's just exacerbated by COVID and whatever that brings to each person's life. But you absolutely have kind of an individual, flexible schedule. I think that's really universal with the whole program. So I really appreciate that. This is just echoing what others have said, and I maybe just attest to the truth of it, that everyone is very accessible and that it's an understanding program. So it's really, really great to work in that environment.
So do you think if I wasn't here, people would be saying anything different than what I'm hearing? It's really, I mean, people are saying positive things, and I appreciate that. But if I wasn't here, would we be hearing anything? And I don't know how I'm asking this question because I am here, but you know what I'm saying? Like, is there a different message out there for incoming students that they might not be hearing at the moment?
I think the only thing I would like to add is that do not be deceived. Like, you will get a lot of support, but it's going to give you the real life work experience for sure. So yes, you're gonna have assignments that will push you beyond just chew and pour. What I mean by chew and pour is just memorizing and producing is not the structure the program goes with. It really challenges you to be creative and really think outside the box for solutions from the get-go. So in that sense, it can be very intimidating for some, but as we are all echoing, you do have the support, but it doesn't mean you can slag. It actually means that you need to ask more and try and work more and trying to find out more and try to push yourself to not just stay in your bubble and try and see, okay, I don't know this. I remember one experience I had with a planning law class, and I'm from Ghana. I'm a newcomer to Canada, so there are things with Canadian laws that I have zero knowledge about, and it was helpful for me to admit that I don't know this, and then just give an answer based on what I thought it should be, and get the whole class go like, no, it's not like that. Then that kind of wakes you up a bit, and well, okay, then I have to learn more about this. Who do I go to? And generally what I find is most of my colleagues are very, very supportive, but if you don't ask, then you never know, right? So that's something that I really wanted to put out there, that it's a very, very supportive environment, but you'd only experience the support if you allow the support to help you out to do the work.
Good point. Thank you for that. 2 or 3 people that haven't contributed to this. Anybody, Yanjun or Patrick? Or...
Yeah, I just want to add to Victoria's comment that for international students, it seems like, at least for me, when I first came to Canada, it was really intimidating. Like, it's different people, different language, different lifestyle and everything. But after I entered the program, I would have to say that Ryan Gibson, Professor Ryan Gibson, he's really, really helpful and nice and makes me feel like home, and he's supportive in every way. But at the same time, like, international students, I don't know other places, but Chinese students, they are usually very shy and they're afraid of reaching out to people. But I feel like that's not necessary. Like Victoria said, if you need support, you have to reach out. There are a lot of social opportunities in the program. I don't know if there are still online like events for the incoming students, but if there are, do participate and know your colleagues outside of the classroom, and yeah, try to fit in.
That's great. Thank you for that. Patrick or Preethi, if anything further you'd like to add to this topic? I see Patrick nodding.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go. I don't think I've... so I think everyone touched upon really great points about the program. So just mirroring everyone else, don't be afraid. I know it's a little intimidating to come into a new program. For me, I was nervous starting and going into orientation, just wrapping my head around just going back to school after working for a little bit, and just not knowing where this path is going to lead me. But it's really about taking the initiative to reach out to these support systems that are out there. Faculty members are great. The people, the students that you meet, especially everyone comes from different walks of life, and everyone comes in with different experiences, and it's great to just listen and talk and just meet new friends. And you know, it's been, to be honest, a pretty great experience, even with or without you here, Wayne, in this meeting. That's all I can really think of. There's no really negatives here. Even when our quarantine started, the faculty members were very quick on offering research assistant positions, and acknowledging that some students require like funding and help. So it's kudos to all the faculty members in RPD and the University of Guelph. It's been pretty good so far. So it's fine.
Thank you for that, Patrick. Preethi or Lou, anything you want to add to this topic?
Sorry, you'll have to excuse me. I got disconnected for a moment, so I'm not quite sure what the topic was.
What are the beautiful things of living in rural Ontario, eh?
Yeah, I curse Bell every day of my life.
I'm lucky where we live in rural Ontario. We have a small private independent telephone company that provides fantastic service. So is really your experience with courses or research or things of that nature? And I know we touched upon that a little bit earlier with your research, Lou, but anything from a course perspective that you'd like to offer?
From a course-based perspective, well, I can say that all of my experiences with courses at RPD have been good. At least some of them have been great. Definitely, I suggest that people should take the what you might call the core planning courses, like your advanced planning course, Wayne. I think it gave me a grounding in some of the more practical sides of planning that I might not have fully understood before going into the program. And even if it convinced me that I didn't want to be a municipal planner, that was a valuable experience in and of itself. And it led me to, partially, it led me to where I am right now, which is going into a career in research. As far as like distance courses, I took a couple of online courses last summer. I did the program evaluation course, which all worked out. The department has a lot of support for remote students, I would say. Like they do a good job of making sure that you still sort of get included in conversations and you have good access to the different professors and stuff like that. So really, I would say that I have no complaints about the program overall, with or without your presence as well.
That's great. Thanks for that. And Preethi, anything in this? I don't think you've jumped in this topic just yet, or if you did, I was in the course of hearing from everyone. So anything you want to add further to this?
I can't say it better than Lewis and Patrick have already. I started off in the thesis program and then I switched to a major research instead. And that has just taught me that you come into the program thinking one thing and thinking that your pathway is just, it's so firm, and then you see what your peers are doing, you see what you're more interested in based on the courses that you're taking, and then you decide with life that goes on around you that there might be a different pathway for you instead. And it's just keeping your eyes and feelings open to the different pathways that exist for you is something that I think every incoming student is going to have to anticipate. And also the fact that we are such a diverse class, and I think making friends was probably the one thing that has got me past this entire program. And I'm so grateful to have had such an opportunity to meet so many diverse people in my program. Like my best friend in the program is a mom of 2 in Goderich, and like I would have never met her if it weren't for this program and for being open to making friends too. So those are the 2 points that I would have made.
That's great. Thank you for that. It serves as a springboard to our final question, and we'll try to go through this in about 5 or 7 minutes, something of that nature, just to keep to our time. And it's about community. And all of you have, in my view, given a fantastic insight to the community that is RPD, and recognizing that in the fall with some people probably not in Guelph, completing and working by distance. And I'm just appreciative of your comment, Preethi, about your best friend from the Goderich area, who's a couple of hours from Guelph, right? And that opportunity happened. But what would be your thoughts about what the community is and what it can be, and any suggestions of how we can work to make sure that community is as strong moving forth into the fall and with a new cohort of students coming in, recognizing that we you know, there may not be hugs involved, if I could put it that way, but rather waves to people by distance. Any observations or thoughts as to what that might look like? And I'm looking for someone to take the mic.
I have some thoughts that I could
Please,
put
go
in
ahead.
as an incoming student. I've really benefited from talking to the students who are currently in the program, and everyone seems really willing to talk to me. I'm not sure if that's extended to everyone, but on your behalf, I'm extending that to other people. But whenever I reach out to someone and I'm like, hey, I want to learn more about this, or I hear you're working on this project, can we talk about it? Everyone's always really willing to call me, or just have a video chat, which can be tiring if every communication is over video. But as part of the reality of being online, it's the best communication method we have, and everyone's really willing and really helpful. I think Elise and I talk almost every day because we're doing a research project together, but it's been really awesome to have that support.
Good. So community in that context can be created through even in a different format than historically, perhaps, but certainly there. Other observations, and again, don't necessarily have to hear from everyone with this specific question, but any other thoughts on community? Victoria?
I have a question. I really enjoyed having the opportunity to experience rural communities in Ontario when things were not all virtual. I don't know what the program's plan is to how they are going to still manage to do that virtually.
That's a great question. I think it's a question that everyone's thinking about. I have this vision of walking around with my phone and creating little mini videos of things that we can bring to people, and not only me, but inviting students within the various courses, at least the courses that I'm responsible for, to do the same thing, where they would bring snippets of their home community to the table through the technologies that we have, which we didn't have 10 or 20 years ago, as an example, and to try to create that virtually as best as we can under the circumstances that we're in, for sure. Someone else, a word in community.
Yeah, jumping back to your community question, I think for the incoming students, don't be afraid to start a Facebook group or a Facebook chat group. Shout out to Brady on this, who started our Facebook group actually, which then later turned into a Facebook chat group. And it was just so easy to kind of organize, hey, do you want to go out for drinks? Or hey, do you want to go and like have lunch together as like a class? And yeah, no, it's been really useful in like kind of facilitating community and also facilitating friendships outside of the classroom.
Good stuff. And interesting, I had an email just literally today from an alumni saying something about the Facebook connection and the job postings and all of those good things that are happening as part of it. So that's to be recognized as well. Others' perspective on community and what it might look like moving forward.
Yeah, like I took the Healthy Communities online course in the winter. And even though that was an online course, we still had in-person sessions. But then people who couldn't be there did Zoom just like this. So I imagine that's what that course is going to be like in the future. And like the way that course kind of functions, one of the projects was to go find a rural community and to come back, and then we talk about it as a class. So I mean, that's going to be, as well, I imagine it's going to stay the same. And I don't know, I guess like you can apply what you learn in the class and apply it in real life and bring it back. Because everybody in this program knows how much I love like my hometown of Perth. I talk about it all the time. So like in that context, I could go out, you know, apply what I know, walk around Perth, take photos of it, and bring it back to the class. And it's just a good way. That'd be a new way of people getting to learn who each other are. And I think that won't be affected by what's going on, I don't imagine.
Good stuff, thank you. Injun, I might ask you from an international student perspective, what community has meant and what we can do to enhance it in the fall.
To be honest, I feel like so far, I felt everything's perfect in the program. And like Preethi said, I think making friends is really important to like help me through the program. Like apart from that, I want to add that me and Angela and another 2 students were the only 4 RPD students who's in an international stream. And sometimes we feel like a small group because we have most of the class together apart, like without the Canadian stream students. But I feel like for the incoming students, there should be more communications between two streams, and there are a lot to learn from each other. Yeah.
Good points. Thank you for that. And certainly to enhance that communication is important. And there are courses such as theory as an example that bring everyone together, but to certainly build on that into the future. Anyone else that would like to jump in this question about community? Elise?
Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Mine will be really quick. I just wanted to mention, going off of what he said about kind of having that Facebook group chat and forming like friend groups outside of the program. We had a couple potlucks this past year, and I'm just thinking about how even though the university campus might be shut down, whatever social distancing rules look like in the fall, and depending on everyone's comfort level as well, you could have a potluck off campus. You know, it's just the university and classes might not be happening, but there's still opportunities to have community outside of the campus scenario as well, depending on everyone's comfort levels and the climate of things. But potlucks work. They're good.
And as you're saying that, I'm just reflecting on how enamored many people are with the city of Guelph too, in terms of it as a community more broadly speaking, which I think is worthwhile. Angela, were you able to jump in there too?
Can I just add one thing?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so I want to say to for the international students who also has a family to attend, just be very honest to your professors the difficulties you have, and I'm sure they will understand. And don't take everything by yourself. Yeah. Yeah,
that's a great point to acknowledge that you know, it can be demanding as a student, right? There's lots of things happening, and I think that my colleagues are all very understanding, and if they can do anything to help to take some of that weight off your shoulders, they'll reach out to do that for sure. So thank you for that. Angela?
Yeah, I just wanted to, I really loved Pat and Preethi's comments about the community, like the RPD community, because I feel like this year I've not only learned a lot from the classes, but I've learned so much from the students, and there's such diversity within the students, not only in educational backgrounds, but also in culture and family life. And it's been really, really amazing and eye-opening to learn from everyone as well. And I thought it was really funny that Wayne, you mentioned if we would be talking the same way, because Pat and I were FaceTiming the other day, and I was just saying how like how much I've loved this program, because I was supposed to choose between this program and geography in Guelph, and it was very similar. But I'm really, really happy I chose this program, because I remember the first day in orientation, Wayne mentioned, the first sentence he said was, first of all, I just want to say we're all human. And from that point on, I was like, okay, this is the program I'm supposed to be in, because there's no power dynamics and everyone's just so respectable and wonderful. It's been great.
Thank you. And we're thrilled you're in our program too. Patrick, anything anybody else who hasn't jumped in this topic yet? And again, I'm blending the second question with the third question, so I'm losing track of who's spoken to this question about community, but we'll maybe hear from anyone who wants to jump in this, and then we'll wrap it up. So Patrick, Preethi, Gerswick, I don't think I've heard from the three of you on this specific topic just yet, so.
Yep, I'll go right after.
Yeah, I'll just say one thing really quickly. I think everyone, again, has touched upon all the important points. But with regards to open communication, we have town hall meetings, department town hall meetings. And I think those are really good to attend, especially if you're trying to facilitate kind of open communication with the faculty members, especially in the times of uncertainty. I think it's a great way for students to know what's going on, to learn about what's going on with the program, what's next, and what faculty members are doing as well. And so, yeah, that's pretty much my point.
Good point. I just mentioned that, yes, we've had those since COVID-19 every 2 to 3 weeks, more likely every 2 weeks. We've had a town hall meeting, and a great participation with both faculty and students, 25 people thereabouts for each of these town halls. So it's been really good. Preethi, anything you'd like to add to this?
I'm just gonna double dingo what Patrick said, but he said what I was going to say anyway. Right? Sorry?
So that would be a technical term, double dingo.
Correct. So I just echo what Patrick had said. I was going to say that anyway.
Good stuff. And Lou and Gerswick, I think.
I think Gersovic had something he wanted to say first, but I'll follow him.
Okay.
Sure. I feel the same way coming into RPD 2 years ago. Honestly, Yenjun made this point before too. Like, step out your comfort zone a little bit if you're shy or nervous and just talk to people. I made some great friends. We did a lot of house parties, potlucks, I think we had ugly Christmas sweater thing at Lou's house as well. Like that kind of stuff, like it really helps with the bonding. I know for the social distancing things and whatever, it might be a little more difficult, but I think everyone will be more receptive to doing like small type of gatherings or kind of like a social distance party. You could do it online. The GSS, even though I'm a member at large still, I try to contribute in some way or form. I think getting involved with student activities and organizing those things as well is really good. I love doing the hot cocoa stuff. That was a lot of fun at my last semester. But other than that, I would say like try to find more opportunities to engage with each other. The Facebook group stuff, WhatsApp groups, using different forms of media to do activities with each other. It's perfectly a good way of building that bond with each other. And then I remember Stephanie and even Victoria bringing their kid over to the classes, and everyone was just kind of like showering the kids with love and whatever. It's good stuff. I think if you need help and you reach out, someone will definitely get back to you really quick. And that was my experience with RPD. This was awesome.
Thank you for that. And I have to acknowledge you showing up in classes after you graduated, which I thought was just amazing. So that was really cool.
Yeah, I really love RPD. Anything I could do to help, I'll try.
Good stuff. Thank you for that. Luke?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, because earlier Regan was talking about how other students ahead of her in the program that she'd reached out to were very helpful with her. You know, as someone who's a recent graduate of RPD and will still be around at Cedrid in the near future, like I think I'm pretty open to anyone who wants to reach out to me and ask for advice, and I think that other students would be similarly open to those kinds of requests. I don't know if I'll be in Guelph in the near future, given everything that's going on, or if I'll be still up here in Parry Sound struggling with terrible internet access. But I'm always open to a phone call or a video chat if I can get it to work.
Thank you for that, Lou. And just to acknowledge that, because it's something we've been thinking about too for the fall, what does it mean for people that might be not on campus or not in Guelph, as an example, with technology and whether phones or video works, and just recognizing your ability to contribute to today through Zoom using just the phone feature, which obviously uses a lot less broadband than would be the case if you were connecting by video. So just to recognize that technology as well. Well, I'm sure we could go on for longer, but I think it's the time has come to adjourn our meeting, and for me to thank all of you for contributing today. I know that I found it very insightful to hear your comments, and I'm sure that the students that will be joining us in the fall will also value your contributions. And while they were mostly all positive, I think people would get the sense of sincerity coming from all of you in the comments that you had to offer today. So I just want to extend my thanks on my own behalf, but on behalf of the school and the incoming students. So I wish you all the best for a productive and enjoyable summer, and we'll see you one way or the other come the fall. So thank you again.